This is a video how I resolved an under the cabinet lighting problem for this kitchen. In 2022 we had this countertop installed, replacing an older countertop, and it goes quite a distance there, an additional area here on the opposite side of the stove. And yet when the renovators were all done, we asked about what can we do about under the cabinet lighting, because even though we've got a ceiling light here right above the counter, when a person stands here you actually get shadowing and it's hard to see what you're working on with this shadow. So I designed a way to make under cabinet lighting for food preparation. The installers of this kitchen were not really helpful in coming up with any way to put in under the cabinet lighting. So I came up with a method where the under the cabinet lighting is merely plugged into a wall outlet. And so I leave it plugged in all the time, and then the LED lighting has its on-off switch built into the LED light. This light is 2 feet long by 3 inches wide by 1 inch deep, and becomes barely visible when not in use. And my wife has been totally delighted with how it turned out. We looked at various stick-on LED lights, and they were all like battery powered and just seemed like a bad idea. This one is fairly invisible if you follow the wire. We then get to a familiar connector for the wire to enter, which I bought separately. These clips, instead of pounding them in, what I did was to buy a bunch of screws of the appropriate small size. I pre-drilled the holes and then hand screwed them in. When I got to a point where the cabinets are back to back with each other, I pre-drilled the holes through the bottom of the cabinet and fed the wires through. This entire wire is actually an extension cord, which I cut off the final end, and I didn't cut it off to the final length until I found out how it was going to fit here. The width of this end of the kitchen is about 8.5 feet from wall to wall, and the 2 foot wide under the cabinet LED light is quite sufficient for lighting for food preparation. I bought this unit from Home Depot, and it was a fairly low price, and it served me well. I spent a lot of hours on my back on this counter with everything cleared out of the way, putting the screws in these little wire connectors that go all along. However, it's a very low-tech sort of procedure, and my wife has been very pleased that the wiring is out of view unless you really duck your head under the cabinet. Now, with modern extension cords, there's a different size of one side of the plug to the other, which goes into a specific way into outlets. By the same token, there's a difference in the exterior surface of the extension cord on this wider prong than it is on the thinner prong. And you can tell that on the casing of the extension cord, and then you can follow that same shape all the way inside the LED box. So when you wire it, it's not just any one of the two wires connects to the white wire and the other one connects to the black wire. You can follow that polarity all the way inside that box when you're wiring it. The narrow side on this plug is the hot wire, which will go to the black connector inside the LED box, which is also the smooth side of the extension cord. The wider prong is the common or neutral, which will have the rough side of the extension cord, and that'll go to the white wire inside the LED box you're wiring for the under the cabinet lighting. Inside this LED under the cabinet light, there are 3 wires. There's a white wire from this unit and a black wire from this unit, and the white wire hooks up to one of the wires of this extension cord, and the black wire hooks up to the other wire of the extension cord, and then the ground wire hooks to the exterior metal plate of the LED light, with all the wires and wire connectors tucked up inside the unit. On one end, this metal plate tucks under the metal tab there, and the metal plate is held by these 2 Phillips screws. The LED unit is then secured to the underside of the cabinet by a Phillips screw on both sides, which goes through the frame of the LED light.